Tonight, Houston police admitting on the record, if you become the victim of a property crime in the city, your case may never get investigated.
That's an unsettling message coming from HPD's long-awaited report into why the department suspended hundreds of thousands of cases for years.
Our 13 Investigates team has been breaking down updates on this critically important story for months, and they're standing by with these new findings. But first, let's catch you up.
Tonight, you'll hear us talk about a, quote, code. That's what police used on documents to classify cases as suspended since 2016, even though cases were being suspended years before. And that code is called suspended lack of personnel. Emails show former Chief Troy Finner was aware of that code as early as 2018. He was not, however, chief at that time.
However, 3 years later, after he assumed control of HPD, he said he learned that code was still being used and ordered the department to stop it. Then, this past February, he said publicly that cases were still being suspended. In all, 264,000 cases, including sexual assault and violent crimes, were impacted. 13 Investigates Kevin Ozebek and Liliana Pearson are here with what the city is vowing to do now.
Yeah, and also uncovering why getting to the root of this issue may still be an uphill battle, Liliana.
Yeah, that's right. Satterwhite is telling us himself that much of what's in this report has already been reported, much of that in thanks to work done by our investigative team. It's a cry for help spanning a decade. A systematic staffing shortage noted by Chief McClellan in 2014 led to two former assistant chiefs creating the SL code as a way to show the lack of manpower. But we're told no rules were created alongside it to ensure it didn't get out of control. Then in 2015, McClellan said in relation to the staffing shortage, quote, "We're not in a crisis in the sense that I'm saying something bad, really, really bad is going to happen in the city if we don't have more staffing immediately," end quote. In council today, it's clear that a decade later, that really bad thing did happen.
But you can't unring a bell. And in 2014, as Councilmember Alcorn pointed out, that bell started ringing and has been ringing since.
The code went on to wreak havoc on the department and impact countless victims. Still, few repercussions have been handed out.
They were acting within policy. You know, we disagree with the policy. We can all disagree, and I think in hindsight, we can all say ultimately the wrong thing was done, the intent being what it was. But if you're acting within policy in our department, then the responsibility goes back to the people who write the policy.
Now a look at what's next. Suspended incident reports are still being reviewed, and HPD says a quality assurance team is re-reviewing those cases. So far, over 2,000 reports have been double-checked, resulting in 38% needing additional work. There are still tens of thousands of reports to go. And this crisis is expected to cost the department over $3 million in overtime, and it's not going to fix the problem that started it all. Right now, we're bringing in Kevin Ozebek with a look at this ongoing staffing issue. Kevin.
And Liliana, we know any day now that Mayor John Whitmire will be naming a new permanent chief to lead HPD. But in this report released today, it makes one thing very, very clear. The next top cop in Houston is going to inherit a staffing shortage, the same staffing shortage that caused the code to be created in the first place. Now, when the original SL code was crafted back in 2014, there were 6,576 officers and civilian employees at HPD. Even the chief back then complained about being understaffed. Well, today, 10 years later, HPD staffing stands at 6,091. So despite the city growing by tens of thousands of people in that decade span, our police force now is smaller. Now, this report released today stresses, quote, HPD remains understaffed. The department simply cannot investigate all crimes. Here's what Mayor Whitmire said today about boots on the ground.
So we'll go wherever it takes us to get the resources to get the officers on the street. We're going to look where we can to find pools of money because nothing matters more than fixing this problem.
But we also do have to point out here that Mayor Whitmire pushed a budget that will only add about 200 more officers. Former Chief Troy Finner, current Acting Chief Larry Satterwhite, and the police union all say that the city really needs not 200, but around 2,000 more officers. Satterwhite was very upfront today and said he vows to have every violent crime investigated, but he doesn't have the staff to look into every property crime. And this is why this is all so important. If your home is broken into, if your car is stolen, or if you are ripped off, there may not be an HPD officer who can investigate your case. Gina, let's send it back to you.
Thank you for breaking down that sobering news to both of you.